Take a journey back in time from the present day all the way to the beginning of everything. From the tiniest subatomic particles to the vast expanses of the cosmos, explore the history of our planet and the universe that surrounds it. Along the way, you'll encounter incredible stories of events, evolution, and discovery, and gain a new appreciation for the remarkable journey that has led us to where we are today. The Big Bang, 13.8 billion years ago. Infinite darkness and nothingness until a spark lit up the emptiness. A singularity, infinitely dense, gave birth to the universe immense. The Big Bang, a cosmic explosion, created all matter in motion. Energy and particles burst forth, expanding fast with great force. The universe began to cool and grow. Galaxies formed, stars began to glow, planets took shape, and life evolved in this universe vast and unresolved. The formation of the solar system and the Earth, 4.6 billion years ago. A cloud of gas and dust collapsed under gravity's constant call, giving birth to the sun, center of our solar hall. As dust and gas began to swirl, they slowly grew and fused, forming rocks and icy chunks. New worlds were being used. The Earth, our home, emerged from debris that was left behind, a molten ball of rock and fire with an atmosphere unrefined. Over time it cooled and solidified, with oceans and continents taking shape, giving rise to the first forms of life, an evolutionary escape. The Hadean Eon, 4.6 to 4 billion years ago. In the Hadean Eon, the Earth was born. A fiery ball of molten stone meteorites rained down from above. As oceans and crust began to form and evolve, volcanic eruptions and tectonic shifts were commonplace on this young planet's cliffs. The atmosphere was changing too, with gases released from the volcanic brew. This was the dawn of a new age, a time of formation, an early stage. The Hadean Eon set the scene for the evolution of Earth's living dream. The Archean Eon, 4 to 2.5 billion years ago. In the Archean Eon, a time long ago, intense volcanic activity did flow, forming the first continents we know, and shaking the earth with every blow. It was during this time, in the ocean's deep, that the first life forms did slowly creep, single-celled microorganisms that did keep, living on chemicals, not sunlight sweep. These early beings, so small and bare, laid the foundation for life's great affair. In the Archean Eon, a time so rare, Earth's complex history did truly declare. The Proterozoic Eon, 2.5 billion to 541 million years ago. In the Proterozoic Eon, from 2.5 billion to 541 million years gone, the Earth underwent changes environmental, and evolution of life forms was consequential. The emergence of eukaryotic cells was key. With nuclei and organelles a new degree, this allowed for multicellular organisms to arise, and around 1.2 billion years ago, they began to materialize. Complex animal life also came to be, hard shells and movement, a new diversity. This period was crucial for evolution's direction, setting the stage for life's diverse collection. The Paleozoic Era, 541 to 252 million years ago. The Paleozoic Era was a time of explosive diversification and prime. Life on land and oceans did bloom as plants and animals found room. The first ones to emerge and evolve were the ones that could land, resolve. Insects, amphibians, reptiles, and fish all found ways to adapt and flourish. Geological and climatic changes also took place, with Pangaea forming, a supercontinent embrace, complex mountain ranges, glaciers, and more, all shaped the Earth like never before. This era that began 541 ended with 252 when it was done, a time of growth, of life's diversification. The Paleozoic era's significance to our evolution. The Mesozoic Era, 252 to 66 million years ago. The age of dinosaurs, a time so long ago, when reptiles reigned supreme and ruled the earth below. The Mesozoic Era, spanning millions of years, marked the evolution of many creatures and their fears. The continents were shifting. Pangaea broke apart. As mountains rose and oceans formed, a new world to start. The climate was warm and humid, with forests all around, where ancient creatures roamed and the ground would shake with sound. The dinosaurs were the stars, giants of all kinds. With sharp teeth and long tails, they ruled all that they could find. But then the end came suddenly, a mass extinction event, leaving only traces of what was once so prevalent. The Mesozoic era, a time of wonder and awe, a world so different from today, but still with so much to explore. Paleocene epoch, 66 to 56 million years ago. During the Paleocene epoch's course, Earth was in recovery with a new force. After the mass extinction that killed the dinosaurs, new mammals emerged with different encores. This epoch saw the birth of many modern mammal groups, with primates leading the way, their intelligence in troops. Rodents, bats, and carnivores each found their niche, diversifying and spreading like a colorful quilted stitch. The climate was warm and humid, with tropical forests in bloom, covering much of the planet, like nature's own room. New life forms emerged with different shapes and sizes, adapting to new environments, each with their own surprises. The Paleocene epoch was a time of renewal and change, a fresh start for the Earth, a chance to rearrange. New life forms emerged with their own story to tell, a new chapter in history with much more to unveil. Eocene epoch, 56 to 33.9 million years ago. During the Eocene epoch from 56 to 33.9 million years ago, the Earth's climate was warm with high CO2 flow. The period was marked by the diversification and spread of many mammal groups with new forms ahead. The emergence of primates and their early evolution was one of the key events, a crucial revolution. The oceans were teeming with life all around. Whales and sea cows emerged, some large and some small in sound. The vegetation changed, with new forests in sight. As the Earth's temperature rose, some species took flight. The beginning of the Eocene saw the last major extinction event, a new chapter in history with different life forms to prevent. This epoch saw many changes, some slow and some fast. New forms of life emerged, some of which still last. A time of evolution with stories to unfold, the Eocene epoch, a chapter of Earth's story so bold. Oligocene epoch, 33.9 to 23.03 million years ago. In the Oligocene epoch, long in the past, 33.9 to 23.03 million years ago, it did last. The climate was warm, mild, but cooling periods too. Ice caps emerged at poles, a change so new. Mammals diversified, evolved in many ways. The first primates emerged, a wonder to gaze. Grasslands and savannas emerged, oh so wide, leading to the evolution of herbivorous mammals with pride. New birds and reptiles they also did rise, expanding marine ecosystems with species so wise. New whales and dolphins the ocean did unfold, a period of evolution, a story to be told. Towards the end, cooling became strong. Antarctic ice sheet began, a change so long, historical and scientific facts we hold so dear. A glimpse into the past, a story to revere. A Pliocene epoch, 5.3 to 2.6 million years ago. In Pliocene epoch, long ago in time, from 5.3 to 2.6 million years, a climb, Earth's climate warm and stable with some change, fluctuations in sea levels to arrange. Several early hominins evolved during this phase. Australopithecus afarensis, a fossil to amaze. The rise of grasslands and savannas so wide, perhaps bipedalism in early hominins to abide. New mammals emerged, like true elephants and rhinos. Forests spread. New plant species, a boon to behold. Significant impact on Earth's ecosystems to unfold. A period of evolution, a time of growth in win. Towards the end, a shift to cooler and drier times, marking the Pleistocene epoch and the Ice Age chimes, facts of history and science. We hold dear, a glimpse into the past, a story to revere. A Pleistocene epoch, 2.6 million to 11,700 years ago. The Pleistocene epoch is a geological period that lasted from approximately 2.6 million to 11,700 years ago. During this time, the Earth experienced several glacial and interglacial periods, leading to significant changes in climate and the environment. The period was marked by the evolution and migration of several hominin species, including Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, and Homo sapiens. These hominins developed complex cultures and societies, including tool-making, art, and language. The period also saw the emergence and extinction of many animal species, including megafauna such as mammoths and saber-toothed cats. The end of the Pleistocene epoch was marked by the transition to the Holocene epoch and the emergence of modern human societies. 30,000 BCE, 30,000 years before Common Era, a time of creativity and artistic display, intricate carvings and engravings on bones and stones, a reflection of human expression and artistic tones. New tools and weapons, the spear thrower's invention, efficient hunting and increased success, no tension, the emergence of human burial sites, a new dawn, belief in an afterlife, the journey to move on, ritual practices related to death and mourning, a new era of human evolution and learning, much still unknown about this time long ago, a window into the past, stories to be told and show. 20,000 BCE to 9,999 BCE. 20,000 years before Common Era, a new era of human development began to play. Language, tools, and weapons were refined. Art and music emerged, captivating the mind. Environmental changes, the last ice age, came to an end. New landscapes and ecosystems did transcend. Human populations spread far and wide, adapting to new environments, cultures to abide. New traditions and cultures, a diverse range. As humans evolved, their ways did change. The foundations of human civilization began to take shape. Settled communities, domestication of plants and animals, no escape. The stage was set for centuries ahead. Human civilization, its journey to tread. A new world order as history did unfold. Stories to be told and wonders to behold. A 10,000 BCE to 4,999 BCE. 10,000 years before Common Era, hunting and gathering began to sway. Early agriculture and animal domestication did arise. Sedentary societies and early civilizations, no surprise. First known human settlements, Jericho and Catalhoyuk. Advancements in tool-making, pottery, and weaving, no fluke. Early forms of art, religion, and ritual did appear. A new era of culture, to the world it was clear. The rise of the first known complex societies, Mesopotamia and Egypt, history agrees. Urbanization and trade, a new world in sight. The evolution of human civilization, a new height. The stage was set for centuries ahead. Trade, culture, and ideas to be spread. A new world order as history did unfold. Stories to be told and wonders to behold. A 5,000 BCE to 3,999 BCE. 5,000 years. Before Common Era, Egypt's old kingdom began to take the stage. Agriculture and domestication did appear. Sedentary societies and early civilizations did engage. Architecture and engineering saw a rise. Mesopotamia's irrigation and Egypt's pyramids did surprise. Permanent settlements like Catalhoyuk did grow. Advancements that forever changed the course of man to know. Culture and art, a new era to unfurl. Early forms of writing and Venus figurines, a beautiful pearl. Egyptian deities and Mesopotamian myths, a rich tapestry of history, a fascinating mix. Urban centers emerged in Mesopotamia's land. Egypt's cities developed. A new buzz began to expand. Complex societies and human civilization did take hold. The stage was set for history as it did unfold. Centuries ahead, new stories to be told. A world evolving, to the future we behold. 4,000 BCE to 2999 BCE. 4,000 years before Common Era, agriculture and domestication, new ways to play, permanent settlements and early civilizations arise, social and technological advancements take the prize. Monumental structures rise, engineering feats, Stonehenge's megaliths and Sumer's temples complete, cultural and religious developments, early writing forms, Inanna and Enki worship, a new world transforms. First known city-states in Mesopotamia's land, complex societies and human civilization take a stand. The stage was set for history to unfold, centuries ahead, stories to be told. 3000 BCE to 1999 BCE. From 3,000 years before Common Era, empires rose and fell. A time of great drama, Sumerian and Akkadian, and Egypt's old kingdom too, geopolitical changes, stories anew. Technological advancements marked the age, writing, wheel, and plow. Turning the page, impressive architecture too did arise, great ziggurat of Ur and step pyramid of Djoser, to our surprise. Religious changes, a new era in view, Sumerian polytheism and Ra's cult, all true. But change did come, as it always does. New civilizations emerged, causing a buzz. Indus Valley and Jia dynasty taking shape, geopolitical changes, a new world to drape, future conflicts and global tensions in store. The stage was set, history's future to explore. 2000 BCE to 1499 BCE, 2,000 years before Common Era, a time of change, a time forlorn, empires rose and empires fell, old kingdom Babylon, stories to tell. Religions too did come to light, Judaism, Hinduism taking flight. Cultural progress did not relent, art, literature, music, it all went. Impressive architecture, a sight to behold, great pyramids of Giza standing bold, geopolitical changes, Bronze Age collapse, new civilizations emerged in Near East, a new mishap. Future conflicts, tensions to brew, the stage was set, what will ensue, centuries ahead, stories to be told, a new era, a new world to behold. 1500 BCE to 999 BCE. From 1500 years before Christ, geopolitics were not so nice. Empires rose and fell, we see, New Kingdom and Hittites in history. Major religions did emerge, Judaism and Hinduism to converge, cultural developments took flight, art, literature, music in sight. Architecture too did rise, temple of Ramses to the skies, but change did come, as it always does. Iron Age and warfare it does buzz. New forms of diplomacy too, geopolitical changes did ensue. And with the future still unwritten, tensions brew, and conflicts to be written. 1000 BCE to 699 BCE. 1,000 years before our time, a world of change, a world in prime, geopolitical shifts, empires rise and fall, Zhou dynasty, Neo-Assyrians stand tall. Religion too underwent a change, Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, new faiths to arrange. The spread of beliefs, a new era began, a world in transformation, a different plan. Culture and arts too made their mark, new forms of literature, music and art. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, an architectural feat, a world of beauty for all to meet. As the 7th century drew to a close, the world was changing, as we all know. The Greek city-states emerging strong and bold, the Persian Empire, a growing stronghold, future conflicts, future strife, global tensions, and uncertain life. But in this time, significant change was made. A world in transformation, history's page was laid. 700 BCE to 399 BCE. From 700 to 399 BCE, geopolitical shifts we do see, empires rising, falling fast. Zhou and Achaemenid didn't last. Major religions emerged in time, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism to climb, philosophy and science too. A new era of thought to ensue. Classical art and literature rose, architecture grand, great wall to pose. But with changes came new strife, Roman Republic and Greeks to come to life. Thus the period came to close, setting the stage for future foes, tensions building, conflicts to brew, centuries ahead, what will ensue? 400 BCE to 199 BCE. From 400 years before Christ, geopolitics did roll the dice, empires rose, but some would fall, a changing world for one and all. The Han and Maurya held their sway, while Rome ruled the Mediterranean Bay. Religions spread with fervor new, Jainism, Buddhism, and Christendom too. Culture blossomed, art and verse. The epic poem did the world immerse, and classical architecture took hold. A new era of beauty it would unfold. But change did come, as it always does, and migration's tide did Europe buzz. The Western Roman Empire met its fate, as future conflicts they did create. Thus ended the period's reign, a world transformed and rearranged, setting the stage for centuries yet to come, and future stories yet to be sung. 200 BCE to 99 BCE. In 200 BCE, a time of change began to see. Rome's republic rose in might, and Han dynasty spread its light. New religions came to be, Buddhism spread, Taoism we see, a cultural shift, art and thought, Hellenistic influence wrought. Philosophies and science too, innovations sprang anew, but tensions grew and conflicts rose, as Parthian Empire came to pose. Thus ended the century's phase, with Silk Roads opening a new craze, and with it came the global stage, setting up conflicts for future age. 100 BCE to year 1. A century of change, 100 BCE, geopolitical shifts for all to see, Roman Republic and Han Dynasty, expanding power and territory. Hellenistic religion made its way, Judaism and Zoroastrianism in sway. Cultural and artistic growth in play, philosophy and science had their say. Classical tradition in art and lit, new ideas and concepts now writ. 1st century BCE, a time to shine, a world that saw growth and incline. But with the end came geopolitical strife, Roman Empire born, Parthian rise, a world in tension, future in sight, setting the stage for upcoming fights. Thus, the 1st century BCE drew to a close, leaving a world to reap what it sows, new conflicts to overcome and mend, to shape history and the world's end. Year 1 to 199. From year 1 to 199 CE, the world saw new changes in destiny, as the Roman Empire and Han Dynasty expanded their power and legacy. With Christianity came a new dawn, Gnosticism and Manichaeism also born. New religions found their way in a world undergoing religious sway. Literary movements and arts emerged, epic poetry and Christian art converged. The first 2 centuries, a time of growth, a world that saw new ideas and hope. But with the end came geopolitical strife. The crisis of the 3rd century began life. The Roman Empire saw tough days, setting the stage for future global frays. Thus, the first 2 centuries came to an end. A new chapter to history they did lend, leaving behind a world on the brink, to overcome challenges, future to think. 200 to 399. 2 centuries, a world in change, new empires rise, old ones fade, the Han Dynasty's fall, a shift in China's fate. As Gupta Empire emerged in India, great. Religion too underwent a change, Christianity spreading far and wide, no longer strange. Manichaeism and Gnosticism, new movements rose, different beliefs with a different goal. Culture flourished in art and literature, classical traditions shaping the future. The medieval era's seeds were sown, new ideas and ways to call our own. As the 4th century drew to a close, the world was changing, as we all know. The Huns and Visigoths emerged from the fray, setting the stage for future conflicts to play. Global tensions, as we all know. The future would be marked by strife and woe. But in this time, significant changes were made. In history's tapestry, a vital thread was laid. To 400 to 599. In times of old, from 4 to 5, the world was changing, no denying. Western Rome did fall and fade, as Byzantine Empire rose in its place. The rise of faith was seen afar, Christianity spreading wide and far, Buddhism and Zoroastrianism too, making waves, changing points of view. In art and culture there was much to see, epic poems, Christian art, new literary, a time of growth, of creativity, and forging paths of new prosperity. But as the 6th century drew to an end, geopolitical changes were on the mend. Merovingian and Carolingian came to be, and the Sasanian Empire rose in the Middle East. These changes set the stage for future strife, and global tensions that would change our life. In centuries to come, the world would turn. But in this time, significant lessons were learned. 600 to 799. In the 7th and 8th centuries, empires rose and fell, the Tang, Umayyad, and Carolingian. Their powers they did tell. New religions emerged in force. Islam and Christianity took hold. As conquests and conversions ran their course, their influence strong and bold. Cultural and artistic feats abound, calligraphy and manuscripts adorned. New literary movements did astound, as epic poems were born. The Islamic Golden Age did arise, with learning and knowledge to explore, a time of progress and surprise that paved the way for more. But geopolitical changes loomed. As Vikings and Abbasids emerged, the stage was set, the world consumed, by conflicts that would be surged. In the centuries yet to come, the echoes of these times would ring, as humanity marched ever on, and history continued to sing. From 800 to 999. In the 9th and 10th centuries, geopolitics were on the rise, empires strong and mighty, a power play before our eyes. The Carolingian, Byzantine, and Holy Roman empires grew. as new religious shifts aligned, Christianity spreading anew. From Scandinavia to Slavic lands, the faithful embraced the word, while culture flourished at hand. New literary movements were spurred, illuminated manuscripts shone, epic poems came to light, and Romanesque styles were honed, in architecture bold and bright. But as the centuries came to close, tensions simmered beneath the fray. The Viking Age brought turmoil and woes, and new caliphates came to play. The stage was set for future strife, as geopolitical powers took their place. A world in flux, a challenging life, as humanity continued to race. 1000 to 1099. A time of change, a time of growth. The 11th century was marked with both Crusades, Byzantine Empire, Holy Roman II, a world transformed, a new point of view, religious changes so significant and real, great schism, new movements, a powerful seal, the papacy, now a political power to behold, and new literary movements, chansons de geste so bold. Cultural and artistic movements, a rise so grand, Romanesque architecture, a new world at hand, geopolitical shifts with England's Norman conquest and Seljuk Empire's rise, the stage was set. A time of growth, a time of strife, the 11th century marked a pivotal life. To 1100 to 1199. A time of war, a time of might, the 12th century marked a pivotal fight. With crusades and Islamic caliphates in power, the stage was set for a momentous hour. Religious changes so significant and true, Eastern and Western Christian churches in a stew, new orders like the Cistercians and Knights Templar, making their mark with fervor and fervor. Cultural and artistic movements arise so grand, troubadour poetry and courtly romance at hand, Gothic architecture, a new age to behold, a century of developments, a story to be told. Geopolitical changes, a shift in might, powerful monarchies emerging in Europe's sight, the Islamic Almohad dynasty with sway, setting the stage for a new world to play. 1200 to 1299, a time of crusades, a time of strife, the 13th century marked a pivotal life, with Mongol invasions and battles galore, a world transformed, never seen before, religious changes so significant and real, new orders and traditions, the spirit to heal, cultural and artistic movements arise so bold, Gothic architecture and romance stories told. The European Renaissance, a seed was sown, the Mongol Empire established, power was known, geopolitical changes, a shift in time, setting the stage for future conflicts to climb. 1300 to 1399. In the 14th century, a new era dawned, the Renaissance emerged, art and culture spawned, but death came knocking, the Black Death spread, a pandemic that left many people dead. The 100 Years' War between England and France raged on for years with no end to chance. Religious movements also emerged in the scene, like the Cathars, mysticism, a new routine. Culturally, the Gothic and Proto-Renaissance, new art movements that led to a new dance. The 14th century also saw geopolitical changes, powerful city-states in Italy, a new range. The Ottoman Empire began to rise, geopolitical tensions like a looming surprise. The 14th century ended, but its legacy remains, setting the stage for the future with new strains. Of 1400 to 1499. A time of change, a time of discovery. The 15th century was marked by much history, the Renaissance in Europe, a cultural rebirth, humanism and art, a new vision on earth. The Ottoman Empire rose to power, and European colonial expansion, a new frontier to devour, religious changes, a great schism in Christianity, and the birth of Protestantism, a new reality. Geopolitical changes, the new world discovered by Columbus and future exploration uncovered, a time of change, a time of discovery. The 15th century marked history. 1500 to 1599, a new age dawns with changes bold. The 16th century, a story told. Exploration and Renaissance, a time so great European powers the world to dominate. Religious and political changes, a time of divide, the Protestant Reformation, a turning tide. Absolute monarchies, power and might, Europe transformed, a new sight. Cultural developments, art and style, mannerism and Baroque, a sight so wild. The 16th century, a time of growth, a world transformed, a time so loath. Geopolitical shifts, the Spanish Armada's defeat, the rise of the Dutch Republic, a power so neat, A century ends with future conflicts set, the stage for the 17th century, a time we won't forget. 1600 to 1699. In the 17th century, a time of change, the world saw geopolitical rearrange. Colonial powers rose in the Americas, Africa, and Asia. New lands explored and new wealth to amass. The scientific revolution, a significant turn, philosophy and knowledge began to churn. The emergence of Baroque and Rococo art, beauty and elegance, a new cultural part. Geopolitical shifts with absolute monarchies in power and European wars of religion, the world did cower. The century ended with the Dutch Republic's rise and the English Restoration, a new hope to prize. The 17th century, a period of change and strife, set the stage for future conflicts and a new way of life. 1700 to 1799. A new era dawned in 1700. Enlightenment and revolution. It was splendid. A time of social and technological change. The Industrial Revolution. The world did rearrange. Colonial powers rose. Their reach extended far. The transatlantic slave trade, a horrific scar. The American Revolution, a battle hard fought. The British left. Independence was sought. The arts flourished with new movements in sight. Neoclassicism and Romanticism, a new light. Great literary works like Pride and Prejudice, and Mozart's music exquisite. But the winds of change, they never cease. The French Revolution, a moment of release. Napoleon rose to power, a man of great might. Geopolitical tensions, setting the stage for a fight. The 18th century came to a close, the dawn of a new era no one knows. The world was changing, the future unknown, a new century, a new world to be shown. 1800 to 1899, a time of change, a time of strife. The 19th century marked a different life, with Napoleonic wars and battles galore, a world transformed, never seen before. The Industrial Revolution, a pivotal change, steam engines and telegraphs, technology so strange, and social changes, so significant and real. Abolition of slavery, a step towards equal, feminism, women's suffrage, a battle begun, new literary and artistic movements like realism and romanticism, fun, with nationalism and imperialism on the rise, geopolitical tensions like a looming surprise. The 19th century ended with a warning bell, militarism and colonial powers setting the stage for future hell, a time of change, a time of strife. A 1900 to 1909. In 1900, the world was in motion, marked by events of great commotion. U.S. President McKinley's assassination was the first, a tragedy that left the world immersed in thirst. China saw the Boxer rebellions rise, with a quest to rid foreign influence and guise. San Francisco earthquake shook the city's core, leaving the town in ruins, a catastrophe to deplore. The Wright brothers took to the sky. Their successful flight made many awry. Radio transatlantic signal was another feat. Communication across oceans was no longer elite. Emergence of the U.S. as a global superpower. Growth of influence became its greatest flower. Tensions led to World War I's seed, a conflict that would make the world bleed. King Edward VII's reign came to a close, as George V ascended, taking on new woes. The first decade of the 20th century, a time of change, marked by events that history would forever arrange. 1910 to 1919. In the 1910s, World War I brought chaos to many lands, and new nations emerged, as empire's grip was loosened from their hands. Technological advancements were also seen, with commercial radio and transcontinental telephone service now a routine. The decade was marked by significant cultural shifts, women's suffrage movements gaining ground with each lift, and art and literature taking a modernist turn, breaking away from traditions and making new norms. The Treaty of Versailles marked the decade's end, formally bringing World War I to a close. With it did future geopolitical tensions impend. A 1920 to 1929. In the 1920s, the world was changing. As the end of World War I brought new ranging, the Roaring Twenties brought prosperity and consumerism, and the growth of cities with urbanism. The 1920s saw the rise of jazz and the flapper, As society became less rigid and more rapper, new technologies emerged, like the radio and the car, as people looked to travel near and far. The Soviet Union was established in this time, and fascism in Italy began to climb. The Chinese Civil War also began to brew, as geopolitical changes came into view. But the decade ended with the stock market's crash, and the Great Depression that followed in a flash. The 1920s were a time of highs and lows, and marked the beginning of new woes. On 1930 to 1939, a decade marked by global events, the Great Depression and its immense debts, fascism and the Nazi Party in Germany rose, geopolitical tensions, Spanish Civil War, and invasion of China froze. Advancements in technology did not stop, television and jet engines on top. Social and cultural changes also seen, Hollywood and radio's golden age, organized crime's sheen. The civil rights movement began in the U.S., a tumultuous decade with so much distress, World War II's outbreak, a dark path ahead, the 1930s, a time we can never forget. 1940 to 1949, the deadliest conflict in human history. World War II raged with much fury. Axis powers fought against the Allies. United States, Great Britain, and the Soviets, oh my. The war ended with atomic bombs on Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, forever a painful span. Entire populations mobilized. The United Nations was established and tensions crystallized. Technological advancements soared. Jet engines and electronic computers galore. Post-war era brought baby boomers to life. And the civil rights movement rose amid the strife. 1950 to 1959, the Cold War was on the line, Korean War's bloody strife, and China's communist time. The first credit card took the stage, and organ transplant took its first page. Consumerism rose with a boom. Suburbs grew like never before, and it wasn't too soon. Rock and roll music was born. Drive-in theaters became the norm. Beat generation found its voice, and civil rights movement made its choice. In the 50s, so much happened. Some good, some bad, some softened. But it was a decade that set the tone for the future that was yet unknown. (1960 to 1969). A decade of change, oh so fine. The Cuban Missile Crisis, a moment of fear. Kennedy's assassination, a tragedy so dear. Advancements in space with Project Mercury, sending the first Americans up so early. Vietnam War escalated, causing unrest, anti-war protests, worldwide at its best. Rock and roll music, the British invasion, counterculture movement, an era of sensation. Technological advancements, never before seen, computer mouse and video cassettes, the start of a dream. The 1970 to 1979. The 70s saw the end of the Vietnam War, Richard Nixon's scandal and resignation, a political sore. OPEC and the energy crisis rose to fame. A social and cultural shift also came. Feminism and the sexual revolution were on the rise. A tense geopolitical landscape wasn't a surprise. Soviet invasion of Afghanistan and Iran's hostage crisis made headlines and global tensions rise. Disco music was all the rage, and Jaws and Star Wars set the stage. Video games made their grand debut. The 70s were a decade that left us something new. 1980 to 1989. 1980 began with a bang. Ronald Reagan elected. His victory sang. Iran hostage crisis came to an end. Peace and freedom the world did send. The fall of Berlin Wall was a major highlight. It brought people together, a beautiful sight. The Cold War ended. Tensions were eased. Communism collapsed. Democracy was pleased. New tech emerged. Personal computers and mobile phones. Internet became popular, revolutionized our homes. The Falklands War and invasions, conflicts and strife, global events that affected many lives. MTV and music videos made a new mark. Blockbuster films like Star Wars hit the park. Hip-hop music rose to fame, cultural changes never the same. The 80s had it all, good and bad, but it paved the way for the future, we're glad. 1990 to 1991. 1990, Soviet Union crumbles, falls apart. The Cold War ends with a change of heart. 1991, Operation Desert Storm, Gulf War starts. Coalition forces fight for a cause with their hearts. 1992, Maastricht Treaty is signed, EU takes form, Europe unites, starts to reform. 1993, NAFTA agreement signed, trade is free, Canada, Mexico, US. Economy, 1994, Nelson Mandela elected, apartheid is done, South Africa's journey to unity begun. 1995, Internet starts to grow, World Wide Web, sharing knowledge, communication, New Eve. 1996, Dolly the sheep is cloned, a first, science moves forward, a quenching thirst. 1997, Kyoto Protocol is signed, global climate change, protecting our planet, no longer strange. 1998, Google founded, search engine defined, information at our fingertips, one of a kind. 1999, Napster arrives, music downloads on the rise, new industry, new ways, technology flies. To 2000 to 2009. In the dawn of a new millennium, the world was shaken by tragedy. Twin towers fell in New York City, 9/11, forever etched in our memory. The wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, Hurricane Katrina and tsunami, financial crisis, economic shock, but hope was found in Obama's presidency. Social media and smartphones, online streaming, a new age, reality TV and pop culture zones, and we delved into magical pages. From Harry Potter to Lord of the Rings, entertainment brought us to different realms. The 2000s were a decade of things, of events and change at the helm. For 2010 to 2019, a decade marked with change and strife, with conflicts and movements that altered life. The Arab Spring and Syrian War, ISIS rose and shook the core. Migrants fled to Europe's door. Osama bin Laden was found, no more. Climate change got a global voice. Brexit and Trump made many rejoice. Social media boomed, phones in our hand. Marvel heroes and thrones took command. Me Too movement sought for a better way. The 2010s, a decade that won't fade away. To 2020, in Minneapolis, a life was taken, and the world was shaken. The Black Lives Matter movement grew, demanding justice for George Floyd, too. 2021, a virus ravages the world. New strains emerge, taking hold. Vaccines developed, hope unfurled. Against COVID, a fight so bold. 2022. In 2022, SpaceX sent the first all-civilian mission to space, a trend, a step forward in our quest to explore the cosmos and learn even more, and the 2023 CE. In 2023, the world faces strife, a global recession threatening life, a war in Ukraine, climate change, and energy disruptions that are strange. Earth's population now reaches 8 billion, while species struggle, their habitats riven. But amid these challenges and strife, entertainment releases breathes new life. New Year's Day and Martin Luther King Jr. Day, celebrated as usual, come what may. Brazil's new president, Lula da Silva, took the stage, while Japan held the G7 presidency in this age. Croatia adopted the euro, a financial change, while Warner Brothers turned 100, a century in range. A Picasso celebration and King Charles III coronation marked the year, adding to humanity's elation. But not all was smooth in 2023. Silicon Valley Bank's collapse caused economy debris. And in Turkey, a 7.8 magnitude quake left death and destruction in its wake. Yet humanity carries on with resilience and hope, able to weather any storm and with difficulty cope.